What is up guys, and welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Hammerstein, and today we got a pro battle here in the house, and in the first corner we have the Realme GT 2 Pro, and it's going to be up against the Xiaomi 12 Pro. So what we're going to do is of course check out these pro specs and features over here, and of course help you to decide which phone to get by the end of this video. So yes, without further ado, let's just get right into it. Alright, so we're going to start off with the prices on both of these two phones, and also I will include the USD prices as well. So here with the Xiaomi 12 Pro, there's only one variant here in Malaysia, and you can get it for 3,899 ringgit Malaysia. And with the Realme GT 2 Pro, there's also one variant here in Malaysia, and this one you can get it for about 2,999 ringgit Malaysia. Okay, and we're going to talk about the build material on both of these two phones. So starting with the Realme GT 2 Pro over here, it's made out of a plastic bag. And of course, it does have a very nice paper feel to it. It does have the engraving on it as well. So it's actually pretty decent. And of course, on the front, we do have the Gorilla Glass Victus. Not the latest Victus Plus, but still a very solid glass on the front. Of course, a flat display. And in terms of the bottom here, you do have your SIM card tray slot, you have your USB-C charging, and also your stereo speaker setup. Going on to the Xiaomi 12 Pro, we do have a very solid build. Glass on the back, glass on the front. And what glass is it? This is the Gorilla Glass Victus. Of course, in terms of the edge display, it's also a curved display compared to this one. Like I mentioned, flat display. And also on the bottom, it's very similar. You do have your SIM card tray slot. You do have your USB-C for charging. And also you do have your stereo speaker setup on the top one and also the bottom. Also, when it comes to the buttons, it's very clean on the left, whereas on the right, you do have your volume rockers and you do have your power button. Over here with the GT 2 Pro, it's on one side, so the volume rockers here and your power button on the other side. In terms of the feel in hand, both of them, to be honest, feel very good. It's very light. And in terms of the premiumness, definitely I would go for the Xiaomi 12 Pro. Of course, it's made out of a very solid glass. But of course, in terms of just the design, both of them are really nice. Of course, the elegant look, I would give it to the Xiaomi 12. Whereas over here, it's still a very nice, clean design. And of course, I always do like what Realme has done with their phones, especially with last year's the GT phones and also the GT Neo. They've always made a lot of unique designs and a lot of bold designs with their flagship phones, which of course I really do like. So yes, in general, in hand and how it feels is very comfortable. Of course, with the curve on the bottom, on the back over here, it's actually very nice to hold for long usages, and also the curved edges on the sides here, it's actually very nice to rest on your palm. So in terms of this, definitely in terms of the build material, the Xiaomi 12 Pro wins it. But overall, to be honest, you're not going to notice much of a difference when you're holding on using both of these two phones. And now moving forward to the displays on both of these two phones. So they are very similar to each other. Both of them do have the AMOLED panel, 120Hz LTPO display. In terms of the size, 6.73 inch on the Xiaomi 12 Pro compared to the 6.7 inch you can find on the GT 2 Pro. So to be honest, not much of a difference in terms of the screen size. But of course, here we do have the support for Dolby Vision compared to the GT 2 Pro, which doesn't have that. But other than that, in terms of the maximum brightness as well, 1500 nits compared to this one here, 1400 nits on the GT 2 Pro. So all in all, they are quite similar to each other in terms of the contrasty, in terms of the sharpness, in terms of the color. Both of them are really good when you're watching shows or when you're watching some content like my channel over here. So yes, all in all, they are very good in terms of the display. Okay, and now I'm going to talk about the stereo speakers that you can find on both of these two phones. So I'm going to show you some clips over here so you guys can hear them out.
Wow, Peter. Wow. I thought we were close. Fury always had to die. Wow, Peter. Wow. I thought we were close. Fury always had to die, but not you.
Okay, and another thing that we want to test out is the face and fingerprint unlock on both these two phones. So as we can see here, on the GT 2 Pro, works really fast. And when it comes to the face unlock as well, boom, you're right in, boom, you're right in. So it's really helpful. And also with the Xiaomi 12 Pro as well, it works really fast. It does have that vibration, which of course you can turn off. And of course, in terms of face unlock as well, boom, you're right into your phone. Boom, you're right into your phone. So it's really helpful in case you guys are wearing your face mask wherever you're staying right now. Alright, and of course moving forward, let's talk about the battery and charging on both these two phones. So with the Xiaomi 12 Pro, it is quite disappointing that they only give you a 4600 mAh of battery compared to the 5000 you can find on the Realme GT 2 Pro. Xiaomi UI do kind of drain a lot of the battery. It's a bit of a mystery that why did they give us a 4600 over here, which I think is not as good as going to compare with the GT 2 Pro. In terms of just everyday use, definitely with the GT 2 Pro and the Xiaomi 12 Pro, they do give you a full day use, but definitely with the GT 2 Pro, it does give you extra juice at the end of the day compared to the Xiaomi 12 Pro. But the Xiaomi 12 Pro does have an advantage over the GT 2 Pro in terms of the charging. So here with the Realme GT 2 Pro, they only do have the wired charging, but it's a really fast one here. It's super dart charge with 65 watts. So it's able to charge up from 0 all the way to 100% in just about half an hour, which of course is really fast. But with the Xiaomi 12 Pro, in terms of wired charging, it does have a massive 120 watts of charging. So it's able to charge up from 0 all the way to 100% in just about 18 minutes, which of course is insane. Of course, talking about insane, this one does have your fast wireless charging as well. So it's able to charge out wirelessly. Of course, you have to buy this separately from Xiaomi, but it's able to charge wirelessly with the 50 watts charger from 0 all the way to 100% in 42 minutes, which of course is really fast if you guys use a lot of wireless charger. It also does support your normal wireless charging, and it does have your reverse wireless charging as well. It does support your power delivery and also quick charge, which of course is something that the GT2 Pro doesn't have. So one thing that is very similar on both of these two phones are the internal specs. So inside these two Pro phones over here, we have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 processor, the top of the line, the best of the best processor you can find on any Android phones. And in terms of RAM, at this price point, you can get the 12 gigs RAM variant with 256 gigs of storage. There isn't any micro SD expansion slot. Of course, this one does have your 5G support, so you don't have to worry about it. In terms of performance and of course in terms of just everyday usage, you guys can check out a separate video that I've actually done between both of these two phones for you to have a more better idea between both of these two phones when it comes to performance. But all in all, I would say I would go for the Realme GT2 Pro. It performs really fast compared to this. Also, the 12 Pro does really well. But in terms of the battery over here, the GT2 Pro does win it. Okay, and this is where the tricky part does come out, and of course I'm talking about the software side of things. So right out of the box over here with the Xiaomi 12 Pro, it does come with your MIUI 13, whereas over here with the GT2 Pro, they do have their real MIUI 3.0. In terms of just the customization part and of course the personalization, especially when it comes to changing your always on display, screensaver, changing your home screen, all these other added features, both of these two phones are really good. I do like the quick ball feature. This one also does have something very similar. So they are very similar to each other. But of course, when you want to talk about the polishedness and talk about the cleanliness, I would definitely go with the Realme GT2 Pro. It does feel a little bit more slick and a bit more clean compared to the Xiaomi 12 Pro. If you guys know and also have experienced Xiaomi phones, there is a bit of a hit or miss. Sometimes you get a really good phone with a really good software. Sometimes you get a little bit buggy over here. And the fact that they do have a lot of other sub-brands like the Redmi, Poco series and all this other stuff. So it's a little bit hard for them to, just kind of give you a very consistent update and also a good update. But all in all, so far, Xiaomi has been promising long years of updates, 3 to 4 years, which of course is really good. Over here with the Realme device, so far it hasn't been confirmed, but of course, Oppo being the mother brand of Realme is also doing really well. So I do expect their phones and of course in terms of the software updates to last quite long. Here, like I mentioned, does give you about 3 to 4 years of major software updates, so you can use this for a very long time. Realme UI, in terms of the hardware, can last very long as well. Alright, so last but not least, let us talk about the cameras on both of these two Pro phones. In terms of the layout, with the Realme GT2 Pro, it's located at the top left-hand corner, whereas on the Xiaomi 12 Pro, it's located at the center. For me, personally, I prefer it more symmetrical, but to be honest, it doesn't really bother me that much. Some people might like this, some people might like that, so it's really up to you guys. But of course, if we have to talk about the lenses on both of these two phones, the Xiaomi 12 Pro and the GT2 Pro do have the same 32 megapixel sensor. But with the 12 Pro, it does come with an f2.5 sensor and can record up to 1080p at 60 fps. Whereas on the GT2 Pro, it does have a 32 megapixel f2.4 sensor and it can only record up to 1080p at 30 fps. Of course, now let's switch on to the back of these cameras where it gets pretty interesting. So with the Xiaomi 12 Pro, you're given a triple 50 megapixel setup. So starting with the main lens here, f1.9, it does have your dual pixel autofocus and OIS. Going on to the telephoto lens, you also get given a 15 megapixel sensor, f1.9, and it does have your dual autofocus and 2 times of optical zoom. And lastly, we do have the f2.2 sensor for the ultra wide, and it does give you about 115 degrees field of view. So going on to the Realme GT2 Pro, it does have a triple camera setup, but it also does have a dual 15 megapixel setup. So starting with the main lens here, 50 megapixel f1.8, it does have your dual autofocus and OIS. The other 50 megapixel is for the ultra wide. It's coming in with a f2.2 sensor, and of course can have a field of view of about 150 degrees. And lastly, we do have the microscope sensor, 3 megapixel f3.3, and it does have a 40 times of magnification. Alright, so now let's check out some shots on both these two phones and see which one would come out on top. So that is it between the Xiaomi 12 Pro and the Realme GT2 Pro. A very solid Pro battle indeed. Of course, the ultimate question is which one to get. For me personally, definitely when it comes to bang for the buck, the Realme GT2 Pro here definitely does fit the bill. It gives you a very solid phone, a very good processor, top of the line, very solid build as well, your Gorilla Glass Victus, good set of cameras as well. Of course, a nice software to go along with it. But of course, if you are like me, sometimes you just want that wireless charging, you want a little bit more when it comes to the cameras as well. Maybe here the Xiaomi 12 Pro does fit that bill. Of course, when it comes to the money price of it, you have to consider that part as well. And for that price difference, I think for me, again, I will go for the GT2 Pro. Of course, these are just my thoughts and my opinions. Do leave yours in the comment section down below. Of course, if you guys did enjoy this video, do click the like and smash the subscribe button down below for more videos like this in the future. Do also follow me on my social as well on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and also here on YouTube at Dr. Hummus Tech. So that is it. This is Dr. Hummus Tech. Stay safe, take care, and wash those hands.